Thank you so much. Would like us to pray before we begin. Our dear loving God, we thank you so much for enabling us to gather again this afternoon class. Thank you for this far you have been with us in this camp session, all that we have shared and all that I want as we discuss. Continue being with us and guiding our thoughts so that we can understand these truths as we seek to understand more of your character and the nature of your kingdom. Be with us as we begin and until the end of the session. In Jesus' name I pray. So I take this time once again to welcome you back to this afternoon session. Those who joined us either late last night and in the morning, feel welcomed. So I had 3 classes that I was taking you through, and I had chosen the topic, the Sunday Row Waymark. And my focus was, I was reviewing our current understanding on how we moved from marking the Sunday Row Waymark as a law to an erection. So I've covered a few points, 4 points, I think. And today, being my last class, I will tackle the last point that I had in mind. And then, if time allows, I will do a review of all those points, of the key points, so that we can all finish together at the same level for those who joined us late and have not got the opportunity to maybe they follow the presentations online. So the first point that we had, I'm just going to list them, was the soul of the lies and 4 of nations. We also talked about Paniam. We have covered QFMG. Yesterday, we talked about Julius Caesar. What else have I forgotten? Yeah, those are the ones we have covered. So today, I'm going to speak about Daniel chapter 6. So in Daniel chapter 6, we're going to read a few verses so that we can try to see how this chapter is going to help us understand the mark of the Sunday law as an erection and not a law, the parable in that book. So let's open our Bibles. We read a few verses. I know you are all familiar, but I want us to read those few verses so that we can refresh in our mind. So we're all there? Coco? Yes, I read verse 1. It says, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. So before I go to the next verse, so when we read that verse, that narrative, what comes in your mind? There's Darius, of course. And which year is this? That's the question that we need to ask ourselves. Which year is that? That is verse 1. Daniel 6, verse 1. This is Daniel. Sorry? Someone said something? Why do you say 538? Yes.
Was spoken in 538 by the Apache.
Thank you. Anyone with a contrary opinion? So we all agree that if this is the year 5 that PC, the kingdom of Papron is doing what? Is falling down. And the next kingdom which is coming is Medo-Persia. But Persians take it first because we have 2 kingdoms in that kingdom. So the first king, we have King Darius, and they co-ruled with who? Yes, good. So they co-ruled with Cyrus for how many years? 2 years. So by the year 536, Daniel sometimes, I think either in chapter 10 or chapter 7, I'm not sure, tells us it's the first year of Cyrus and also the 3rd year of Cyrus, isn't it? So when it talks of the 3rd year of King Cyrus, it means it combines the other 2 years that they had a co-rulership with King Darius. This is Darius 1, isn't it? So in this time period, Babylon has fallen. Daniel and the friends and the children of Israel, they are dead captives in that land. And now King Darius has taken the throne of the kingdom. And it says that it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes. So we have 120 princes. So, okay, there is something that I want us to say. We normally have 4 kings, just as by the way. Can we name them? Do you know them? That says, we have a book, Daniel chapter 11 says that the 4th is the far richer. We start, if we can name them, Xerxes. This is King Xerxes. Who is also in the book of Esther is called King Ahasuerus, isn't it? So who are the others? So this is number 1, 2, 3, 4. Who is this? Cambyses, yes. Who is this? And then this is Darius the Great, or Darius II, isn't it? So, and we normally line up sexes to Trump, isn't it? We say that this is Trump, Donald Trump, this is Obama, this is Ronald Reagan versus Bush Jr., Senior, isn't it? And then we have, who is this? 1 and 2. We line up Cambyses and Pholismatis to who? You remember? Sorry? Oh, so this is Bush 2. And this is Clinton. And then here we have Reagan. Versus Bush Senior. So that was just by the way. So if you are doing the study of the last president, this one can be of great importance. And we say that if Texas, a symbol of Donald Trump, the last president, is for the last president for which kingdom? The 60th kingdom, isn't it? Is my voice clear, or law. It's clear? Okay, thank you. Sorry? Oh, thank you. I will try to improve. So verse 1 says, it pleased Darius to set over the kingdom 120 princes, which should be over the whole kingdom. Verse 2 says, and over these 3 presidents, of whom Daniel was first, and the princes might give accounts unto them, and the king should have no damage. 3, it says, then this Daniel was preferred above the presidents and princes because an excellent spirit was in him. And the king thought to set him over the whole realm. And the presidents and the princes sought to find occasion against Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they could find none occasion nor fault, for as much as he was faithful, neither was there any error or fault found in him. Then said these men, we shall not find any occasion against this Daniel, except we find it against him concerning the law of his God. Verse 7, then these presidents and the princes assembled together to the king and said thus unto him, King Darius live forever. All the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute and to make a firm decree that whosoever shall petition of any god or man for 30 days, save of thee, O king, he shall be cast into the den of lion. So the story continues. So we can see that story, we know of it, that Darius has chosen the princes, the presidents, and Daniel has been preferred, has been chosen as one of the first presidents, and is now next to Darius. And now these other people, they're coming up with an evil conspiracy theory maybe, and they wanted to convince the king, King Darius. And Darius had to sign a law. So we say that, yeah, okay, there are also 3 presidents, let me write. Daniel being one of them. So what's the big issue in that story? What's the controversy from the class? What's the big controversy? I didn't finish the entire story, but I've read up to verse 8, if I'm not wrong. What are they accusing Daniel of? Okay, let me paraphrase the verses. Verse 2 is selection of 3 presidents and Daniel being one of the presidents. Verse 4, we see Daniel has been preferred above all the princes and the presidents. And now Daniel is in charge of all of them. And then when we read verse 4 and 5, these presidents and the princes, now the others, they are seeking to find fault in Daniel concerning the kingdom, but they find none. But they had found, I think, like a false information concerning the God of Daniel. It's only where, according to what they want said, according to what they want said, they can now find a reason to accuse Daniel of, that is now worshiping a different God apart from the God that they could wish the kingdom to worship. Sorry for that. So when you read verse 7, all the presidents of the kingdom, the governors and the princes, the counselors and the captains have consulted together to establish a royal statute. So there is a royal or a decree that they want to set in that kingdom. To make a firm decree that will serve as a petition. So this decree is about what? Petition. So that's where there is a problem. And we know the story how it went. They made King Darius to sign it into a law that anybody who is going to worship a different god or to pray to a different god is going to be cast into the den of what? Lions. So in this scenario, we have the three friends of Daniel. They're who and who? Meshach, Shadrach, and Abednego. Really? No. It's only Daniel in that story. They are not. The other three friends are in chapter 3. Yes. Don't confuse that. So this is only Daniel. They are against Daniel because has been met one of the presidents. They have an evil. They are not happy about it. So they have found an accusation and the king has signed it into a law or a decree according to the law of the Medes and the Persians. So Daniel knew it when you read Daniel and the Revelation or the Spirit of Prophets, but he just assumed and he continued to do his own usual supplication twice a day. And the story went on, and they had to bring Daniel, and he was cast into the den of lions. And in the morning, the king found Daniel alive and well, and now he had to accept the God of Daniel. So the issue here is about petition. So I could like us, we go to the concordance. We understand what petition means. So the word petition, it is H1159. H1159. So what does it mean? Someone is there? Okay, I can read from here because of the people online. Petition, request, prayer, always in Jewish. Okay. It's a request. There is also original from 1156. That's strong definitions. Let's see what it says. Is to seek, to ask, seek, request, desire, pray, make petition. So this petition, it means to ask, or to seek, request. In short, it's about prayer. Those are synonyms. So, yeah, those are the meaning. So, the context here, we all understand the recent understanding that we have had from when we connect the book of Daniel and the Revelation. Is the context here about religion or about politics? That's the big question that we need to ask ourselves. So before we answer that, when you read the dictionary, that's Merriam-Webster, when you go to Google, so you go to Google, there's a word that I want us, we look for the meaning, which is equivalent to the word prayer. So this word prayer, petition is equals to prayer. It says, let me write here, petition is equals to prayer It also means suffrage. So I want us to go to the Merriam-Webster dictionary. We get the meaning of that word from there. Don't go to Wikipedia. I purposely that we read Merriam-Webster. What does it mean? So let me read it from here. It says it's synonyms of suffrage. One, the first synonym of suffrage. So we're looking for synonyms. Of this word here, suffrage. It's a short intercessory prayer. It's a short usually in a series. Number two, it means a vote given in let me summarize in an erection. Number three, it means a light to do what? Of voting. So this name here, petition prayer suffrage, if we take it in the political context, it means it's equals to voting, which is equivalent to prayer or suffrage. So I could like us to continue reading that dictionary. Why could a 17th century writer warn people that a chapel was honored for private or sacred suffrages? Are we all there? Can you see where I'm reading? I'm in my own world. Did you open your Googles? Sorry? Yes? Let me. What I saying? A short intercessory prayer, a vote given in an erection. Yes. I just gave a summary. The third one, a light of voting. So I normally forget. I'm sorry. Is it fair? Okay, thank you. I'm sorry for that. So we went to that dictionary to understand the meaning of suffrage, because suffrage is also equivalent to petition or prayer. The first one that it says it's a short intercessory prayer, usually in a series. Number two, a vote given in deciding a controversial question or electing a person for an office or trust. Number three, the right of voting, also the exercise of such a right. So I was reading the commentary on it. Why could a 17th century writer warn people that a chapel was only for private or sacred suffrages? Because suffrage has been used since the 14th century to mean prayer. So in the time period of 14th century, the word suffrage, prayer, where did I read? All sacred, because suffrage has been used since the 14th century to mean prayer. So in this time period, the word suffrage means prayer or a petition or a supplication, as you can say. Especially a prayer requesting divine help or intercession. So how did suffrage come to mean a vote or the right to vote? In answering that question, we get a lesson about the word Latin words, how they enter increase. The Latin word suffragium has a number of vote-related meaning, including casting, a vote cast in an assembly, and the right to vote. In medieval Latin, this same word had expanded to mean vote, selection, aid, support, intercessory prayer. And it is this suffragium that gives us the prayer kind of suffrage in the 14th century. It wasn't until the 16th century. You can continue on and on if you want to read and understand more of it. So in short, I gave that narrative from the Bible. We have seen that the issue in Daniel chapter 6, if we are talking about political context, now we do, if we are not focused about religion. You know, in those previous days, we used to read the book of Daniel, most of the chapters, in the religious what? Context. Now that we are in the time period, we want to understand the seventh kingdom, we go to the same chapters and try to understand the political what? Context. So in that context, where Daniel is doing a petition, we have seen it's equivalent to meaning what? A right of voting. So from there or up to that point, is there someone with a question or who needs a clarification? Yes, Sadrak?
To summarize now from Daniel, we go from petition just to summarize the steps we've taken.
Okay. The steps we have taken. Anyone else who feels that he can explain in a better language than I? From the class. Yes, right.
We went to Daniel 6 as one of the proofs for the Sunday.
Yes.
So I believe that as much as possible, we have to show how we and all what we can learn from Daniel 6. We try to understand the fulfillment of the Sunday Waymark.
Yes.
And I believe that is why we've first identified the story. What's the story about Daniel 6? It's about the prayer that Daniel was restrained from doing. And now we are trying to connect that prayer. I think ultimately, based on the steps you are taking, ultimately you are intending to show that prayer can be understood from the perspective of an election or voting. So you started by showing that actually this prayer or petition can be connected with this word suffrage. And for us to understand the meaning of suffrage, you've taken us to the history, I think to the that Merriam-Webster dictionary.
Yes.
And I think that definition we are getting from there is connected to first feminism.
Yeah.
Suffrage. Because we know in fact feminism, that is where as a movement actually we started seeing these words suffrage. Because we understood they were petitioning for the right to vote. So that suffrage, the one, is connected. Okay?
That's all. Thank you, Brian. for the good summary. I don't know, Sadi. Does that answer your question? Oh, thank you so much. Yes, anyone else? Yes.
Question. Can clarify how or if there's a connection between the word suffrage. The word suffrage, we understand it can mean prayer and it can also mean voting. But is there a connection between prayer and voting? Can you see how the two are related? Okay. Is it a case how the word suffrage means prayer and voting? Is it a matter of like how you see like synonyms?
Yeah.
Is it synonyms? Yeah, synonyms. Is it synonyms or metonyms? Synonyms. How is it synonyms where a word can mean two different things?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, so it's not synonyms. It's like how I don't know if someone knows what I'm trying to say to help me. Like how you can find a word, one word, but it has two different meanings.
Yes.
Or is it? Does someone have an example of a word that has two different meanings? No, I don't want to use suffrage because that's the question. That's part of the question I'm asking. Is it like maybe like how the word book? What? No. I don't want to use words in the Bible. You see how the word book can mean, but that's kind of book can mean like a book, but book can also mean like booking a ticket.
Yeah.
But with that, I think with that there's a relationship because you can find like in the root word, like where a book came from, maybe booking a ticket, like it had to be written maybe somewhere in a book. That's why the word book came to place. So is suffrage like that?
Okay.
Okay. Suffrage, when it means voting and prayer, is there a connection between voting and praying? The same way, like there can be a connection between like a book and booking a ticket, or voting like something different and prayer something different. I don't know if you understand what
I understand.
Yeah, so if they are related, what's the connection?
Okay, maybe I will just give my understanding, and people from the class can leave us out there, see the chapter of the question that you are asking. So in that chapter, the issue, if you look at the religious context, Daniel is looking for the right to do what? To have freedom of worship, if I may say, a right to pray. So the problem with Daniel, he wants to have his rights honored. And the rights that is fighting in the original story is a right to do what? To pray. So here at the end of the world, when we look at this story, we take it as a parallel. And if we put the word right to pray in a political context, it will mean right to post, having your right to cast a vote. Or to choose someone to do, like you want to do, you just want to have your legal rights of having a right to vote, a right to choose someone that you used to be in that way. Understand that later. So that's what I understand. That we have taken that in the religious context. Yeah, it means Daniel has been denied to have his own religious rights of right to pray. But us, as the end of the world, we take it as a part, and we go to the way I've taken the states and the way Brian has said. We see if it is in the political context, it's a right to have to cast a vote. That's what I understand. Someone from the class or people who have got different lists.
Maybe I talk on the question.
Yes.
So what we are getting from Daniel 6 is the petitioning.
Yeah.
Because these people, these other presidents and princes, it's a law about petitioning that you should only petition the king and not any other gods. So we are picking the petition, and we've taken it. Okay, petition is prayer, so they should only pray, maybe not literally in a religious context, but ask for something. They can only do that from the king. So prayer to suffrage, and then from suffrage to voting. So what we are getting from there is the voting. That's what we are getting from Daniel chapter 6. So I think what I'm asking is is the voting literally in Daniel 6, or like it's really how we are getting the voting from Daniel 6? That's my question. That's why I was asking about the suffrage. I mean, yes, suffrage is prayer and it's petitioning. We've gotten that from the concordance, but the voting is not in the concordance. It's how the word suffrage has evolved to mean voting. So is it an application? Is it actually what is in the suffrage that is in Daniel 6? Because the word petition in the Hebrew also means suffrage. Is that suffrage voting, or it's just prayer, but us we are applying that to also mean voting?
Okay. I see some people have answer. We have answers. Comments. Rogers. There's Rogers, there's Sabina. Who else wants to comment on the issue? Yes, Rogers.
So just for he wants to understand how we get to what we need to balance.
You are asking a question.
I just want to understand that question.
Okay.
That's the question.
That's fine.
So this
You say?
is it you want to understand how we get to what we need to balance. That's each.
Something like that.
The what? Yeah. Okay. So let me try to answer. So, understanding is even before we do anything that we have done about Daniel 6, of the Sunday law,
Yes.
I think everyone understands that way long before we get to Daniel 6 is a symbol of the sun.
Yeah.
So it makes it about it.
Sure.
And then there's also where when the 1, 2, 3 is the first, second, and third English message, and then you can overlay that and then the 4, 5, and 6. So 6 is the third English message. And the third English message is about the image of the beast and the mark of the beast. So
if I get you are saying that we used to overlay the books of Daniel into the book of Revelation chapter 14.
we say before we understood that Daniel 6 is a symbol of the sun.
Yeah.
One of the proof was the spirit of prophecy. Everybody does that. She says the decree that is it that the decree that there has made is a symbol of the sun.
Okay.
And then the second witness was the understanding whereby we understood that Daniel 1 is the first angel, Daniel 2 is the second angel, and Daniel 3 is the second, the third angel, second. Then we globally that with Daniel 4, 5, and 6. So from those two witnesses, we understood that Daniel 6 is a symbol of the Sunday.
Continue.
And when we took, because we were so much controlled by what the right said, what we took from Daniel 6 was that aspect of the decree that they have made. So we said that decree is a symbol of the Sunday law. They would understand to implement the word.
Continue.
And now we have come to a point where we understand that Sunday is not about a law that's dealing with Sunday. But the chapters teach us about the Sunday law. Then what is it from the chapter that can teach us about the Sunday law? That can teach us about the Sunday law as we currently understand it. So we have to take something from that set. I'm saying this is where you go. The specific wording that we take from the petition of Daniel. When we take that petition, one thing you need to understand is what they were doing in the HCM is to understand the Sunday logos in the city is being taught currently. There are two concepts you must understand. The relationship between structure and symbology. So if you go to Daniel 6, the petition of Daniel, if you go with the original intent, it has nothing to do with voting. But now we have to take that symbol, take it out of its context, and use it in a way that it should teach us something about the end of the world. And that's what we did. So I'm saying if you look at the petition of Daniel, it has nothing to do with voting. So what you have done, you have taken that symbol out of its original context and used it in a way that it's able to teach us something about the end of the world. So that is, we did our gymnastics as a movie and got voting over that. I think it's the same thing with the Twitter's party as maximum judges. When you go to the original context, that thing has nothing to do with voting. But we choose that to get. So I'm saying the exact methodology applied to Peter's Maximus judges is the exact methodology applied to Daniel chapter 6.
So if I summarize that for the people one time. Sorry. Okay, can hear. Okay, thank you. Go ahead.
So, Rogers, hold on. So that word suffrage, because the word suffrage, the Hebrew word for petition means suffrage. That word suffrage there doesn't really mean voting, just means prayer.
But we got to maybe some suffrage from.
Yeah,
We must not create something for human rights.
so
I didn't get your point where about separate and pay.
I was confirming or asking whether the word suffrage, the Hebrew word for petition, means suffrage in the concordance. Single.
No, it's not in the concordance.
Suffrage is not in the
No,
concordance.
it's not in the concordance. Petition means to pray in the concordance.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, to ask, to seek, to request, or to pray from the concordance, the word Hebrew 1159. We can't get separate from the concordance. That's why Roger said that we went out of the context to go to the dictionary. We found that separate means prayer. As I have read that in the English in the 14th century. And there was Sabina, and I can see Eddie. You have a point. And there is a Jeff.
I can ask because I know she's going to answer. So the only reason why we are picking voting from suffrage is because of the same return. Otherwise petition as is used in that and is prayer, and prayer is suffrage. And then another way of understanding what suffrage is when doing this is voting. So like the connecting bit between petition, prayer and suffrage is prayer. And that is what is being spoken about in Daniel. But now go to suffrage and well, it can also mean voting. And now because it's sorry about voting, that's very it. Otherwise, it's
So it's a promise where you are complimenting on what you have done.
yeah. So you know when George says kind of I don't know whether it's in fun. So we kind of find a way to bring voting into the story. I want like the question is out, and I'm saying the only way is you leave the actual meaning of petition and prayer that is from Daniel, and that also means suffrage, and then choose voting. Okay.
And now you bring it in the chapter.
Yeah, it's not what happens. Okay.
Sabina. And that's in several hands. There is a card. Sabina, you speak. Yes, there was someone behind. Yes. I asked three people who are going to speak, and then I continue with the class. So I'm repeating Roger's what they say. So let's have one France country. You were speaking.
Sabines, I was speaking of what Epi said. So Epi saying that you said, we go to Daniel chapter 6. We used to understand, or we understand Daniel 6 is talking about the standing law. But what we use, or what we think is incorrect is the law. So now that we understand standing law is nothing to do with the law, now we need to understand what is Daniel chapter 6 teaching us about the standing law. Then going there, we see there is petition. That is the issue. And petition is prayer, which is means for what it is. And now you talked about symbology and structure. You take prayer out of the context. And now you want to understand what prayer means to bring forth an eternal. So if he's asking, is that the case? Are you yes, because like there is no voting in Daniel, right? So literally there's no voting. So the only way we jump into voting is because of something. And the only way we get the suffering is because of prayer. And so Daniel is talking about whatever Daniel 6 is talking about is prayer. So we get prayer to suffrage, and then it's come to suffrage and say suffrage has all these meanings. It can mean prayer, it can mean voting, it can mean something else. And then we say now because of whatever we're talking about, but need to leave whatever Daniel is saying, which is prayer, and then just go. Is that what happens? Yes. Okay.
Who was to speak next? I can see this. Yeah? I have said from her. And it's good that we discuss these things so that we can get. Sorry? Elsa? You were the one next. Have you finished, Sabina? Finish, Sabina, your point. We go to Elsa, then it's me. Then it's come this way. So everybody's going to speak.
Yes.
So I'm saying, in addition with what Roger said, yes, how symbology is being used in Daniel chapter 6. Literally, Daniel is praying. We are not voting. We understand it. So I agree with that one that we take a symbol of prayer from Daniel chapter 6. We try to understand what it means. Now, if we connect it with the synonym which is sounded, which means prayer can mean also voting. Now, that becomes our we apply that symbol in a different context with voting. So the other thoughts I had is when we look at the word petition, it meant request. So Daniel, or intercession. So Daniel is going to request something from God, and also suffrage or voting means requesting something from the government.
Yeah. I get your voice, and I hope people understand that listening. Who wants to speak? Elsa. It's me. You can't be. Oh, you were the first one. Yes.
The question is about the context in the same chapter.
Yes.
So, for example, I think Rogers alluded to this, so maybe this might be directed towards. Now, when you take that symbol, petition, and you apply it to voting, should you also look at the other symbols, like for example, Daniel, and find out that Daniel is so then, for example, in order to create like a matching story, like in the evidence. So, for example, we could say, is Daniel the people who are voting correctly, or in order for it to be complete, or as Roger saying, can you just speak a symbol without the immediate context? Yeah.
Okay. I think we have picked that word petition from that story. If we understand even the definition of petition, you are praying for other people, isn't it? So I even don't know whether Daniel is petitioning on behalf of others. Maybe he was praying for the captives who have remained in Cameroon, while he's living in Cameroon under the leadership of Darius, because when Cyrus is coming, he's going to give the decree so that the children of Israel can go back and do our work. So someone else, I don't know whether it's a question or a comment. It was a question. You can comment as you want the queries.
Just a little comment.
Yes.
As I was listening to you, your last statement, and gave me a curious. You say like maybe Daniel was praying for the country. Is that right?
Yes.
And I think that's right because sometime someone saying like the prayer of Daniel chapter 6 is the same prayer that he was offered in Daniel chapter 9.
Sure. Yes. Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so that petition someone saying that's not had nothing to do with voting. Like we have the authority to take something from nothing, something like we don't really find treasure in the Leviticus 6. That chapter has nothing to do with that. But as prophet, based on good analysis and history, we let it and make right of the
Okay. Thank you for that good comment. And who was the first? You was Brian, Dorothy, and this side now. Elsa. Oh, Elsa.
It's okay.
It's okay.
Yeah, yeah, actually, Lena's mentioned whatever I wanted to say as far as 2520, and basically rule 1, as far as one is used, the synonym and the homonym, because I think we reached into suffrage because of its homogeneity. So I basically, yeah, in short, it's what it's
Okay. Yes, Brian?
I think my point was what is it to say? If you look at our history, the Waymarks 201, the Waymarks 2014, they were developed out of context. For example, say 126, which we get from the 26. And we understand that the prophets have to take a subject out of context and apply it history. Let's look and read but not. Then on what Roger said, since Daniel chapter 6, and might applies it on the Sunday road. But even against other religion, 6 of Daniel, you can get some points and apply them.
Thank you for that comment. Dorothy?
So I'm not mentioned this was 1911, but my question is why they telling us the same because it did for 1911? The one that speaks about the buildings and beyond.
Why we didn't use?
Yeah, why we didn't use the same methodology that we have used here to apply this to 9/11? This project.
Okay. Have you got the question of Dorothy the class? Why? Did you hear the question of this?
It's why.
Why we didn't use the 49C11 methodology?
Yeah, why as if the same to apply that to 9/11?
But I think we do that.
Sorry?
Yes, we do that.
Yes.
The reality is that.
I got produced when Brian was teaching, he mentioned that now we do not have the same understanding like we did from the 90s.
So let me ask directly.
Okay.
So while you are giving some proofs on what we could put posts like S411 and 9G11 and that 11 B11.
Yes.
That those buildings that there, which are not those buildings, is only happened in 2001. So I was saying, where we could go and speak into the context of what everybody says. So as a patient stand line, things in applied to what's application. And again, So it's like an application of 19 and then to 2001 you see.
But understanding that LNG wasn't talking about those buildings in the north. So it was an application. Yes, is that
So still, when we reach the entry level, we don't apply any clause of reservation, which means the clause of foundation, the original intent. Now we apply it on 9/11.
okay?
So they put, so I think what I'm doing is, if anyone has been in the limit and understand, is when a letter of the lead of the document, we say that put means 9/11 and nothing else.
Sure.
But we are saying, no, it doesn't feel like it. It means the clause of foundation. So what you want to do is, in the electoral context, or just to identify that the points
We went through the rise and fall of nations. I'll just do a recap and then we'll finish. We can take it to Q&A. This point number one, rise and fall of nations, we get it from the studies of Curtis 7, from the structure of virus. We see that from the Waymark final to Sunday Row, at the end of it, at that Waymark of Sunday Row, we're going to see one kingdom is going to shipwreck or fall, and we say it is the sixth. And at that same Waymark, another kingdom is going to rise up, and we say it was the seventh kingdom. So with that, we went to the book of Revelation, chapter 13, chapter 17. We see that John is standing at the sea of the sun, or the stories. And when he looks, he sees the fifth kingdom rising from the sea. And out of the heart, there's a piece in the two horns, which is lamb-like. And this Revelation 17 will tell you that John is being taken into the wilderness. And when it stands is still 1798. And the angel tells John that at this point, 5 kingdoms have already done what? Foreign. And where you are standing, there's another kingdom which is present, and another one is yet to come. We went to LNG White Court, and we were trying, and that court helped us to understand that the sea priests, they came to power through Congress and revolution or through wars. And the sixth kingdom, or the captive, came into place through an election that they had all these things, declaration of high scope, declaration of independence, that all people have got a repart of life. They have what? Can you paraphrase? Life, repart, and passage of happiness. And the Constitution gives these people a right to have a vote, to choose their representative, their representative through a vote. So we see that kingdom, the sixth kingdom, came into place. Amid this, that we can see that the surrounding, we can say there was an American Civil War and all those things. But the key point, as prophecy is pointing us, is that the sixth kingdom came into place through a vote or through an election. So we use the rules of William Miller, which has position the sixth and the seventh. Now that we have the known, we want to understand the unknown. And they say the two kingdoms are coming out of the heart, the same place. So we have come to understand that the sixth and the seventh kingdom, at the point of the Sunday row, one is going to fall through an election, and another kingdom is going to rise through an election. We talked of Daniel, and understanding that all these evidences we get from the book of Daniel. Life and fall of nations, where can you see that? In which book of Daniel? Daniel chapter 2 most. Yeah, I agree with Daniel chapter 2. This is Daniel chapter 2. Where can you get Daniel from? Daniel 11 verse 13, isn't it? And here 50, you can go to Daniel 9, 26, 27. Julius Caesar, 11 verse 16. And then we have Daniel chapter 6. So when we talk of Daniel, you see that it's also updated from 2021 to Sunday Road period, in that time period. And we say that Daniel is an agitation for the Sunday Road, or a formalization for the period of the Sunday Road. So we wanted to understand Daniel. And we went through all the steps, and we saw that in that Waymark of Daniel, that's January 6, 2021, we done that event in a prophetic Waymark. That January 6 was pointing us to the Waymark of the Sunday Road. That in that day, the other party wanted to have a coup so that they can be on the right side of winning an election. But what we understand that the sixth kingdom cannot go through a coup. It was to fall down through an election because it comes into place through an election. And when we talked of key FMG, we also found this structure. And we said during the time period of the test, maximum fraud, she told us that she understands this symbol, that at the Sunday Row Waymark, there's going to be a fraud. It takes us to the book of Daniel. We analyze Daniel chapter 9, verse 26, and the word fraud pointed us to 538, which is connected to the Waymark of the Sunday Row. And the other symbols, fingers, and papa pins, they were being used for an election in the third period of the Roman. And that means fifth, according to the Roman calendar. But when Julius Caesar came into place, he changed the fifth month into the seventh month. When we talked of Julius Caesar, you can't see that directly from Daniel 11, verse 16, but we see Pompey is going to conquer the land of Judea in 63 BC. And in that we say that Julius Caesar is doing this business of fighting for an election. He wants two positions. There is the position of maximum pontifex and the other one of judiciary. And Julius Caesar was able to capture the two positions through an election. And we have already talked about Daniel chapter 6, or the discussion that was had. So up to that point, unless someone has got a pending question that you feel you are not compatible with, you can raise it. And William, you have not spoken. Do you have a question and comment? Okay, thank you so much. Any question? Comment? Okay, thank you.
So, I know the gate. How the confusion about those two passages. I know the confusion.
What was the conclusion?
What will happen? The above the material.
Completion of the petitions.
Yes. And not late.
Who else did get it? The conclusion about the petition? Can we then it Q&A? Submit yes, because of time. Maybe John got it. It is just when he's asking on the
I got distracted.
Sorry?
I got distracted somehow.
Okay, sorry. Okay, thank you so much for the time we are had together. We can pray. Well, friend, thank you. Our dear loving God, we thank you so much for being with us for the session that we have had, the discussion of your word, and even the external events. Lord, that we continue to seek right of understanding of this waymark of the Sunday Road. We pray that you help us cooperatively and individually, so that none of us may drag behind. Let your will always be done in our lives until the next session. In Jesus' name I pray.